Hello and welcome to Snarky Wine's Video Tasting Notes. I'm Kevin Gagnon, Italian wine ambassador and wine journalist living in Germany. Today I have a Soave Classico from the estate of Inama to try with you. Now the estate of Inama has roots going back to the 60s in Soave and shortly thereafter also in the Colli Iberici. Soave, of course, famous for white wines, where the Colli Iberici is famous for reds. They have more than 30 hectares of vines in Soave, and they're all in the Classico part of the zone. This particular wine, however, comes from their very first vineyards, purchased in 1965 on the Monte Foscarino. Inama, as I mentioned, is about 30 hectares in Soave. They are a medium-sized wine producer in the fourth generation. But they are also an organic wine producer. They don't print this on the labels, however, because they believe in the quality of the wines to sell their wines instead of trying to point at their organic production. It is, however, an important part of their ethos to work organically and also to utilize minimal intervention, both in the vineyards and in the cellar. Now, for this particular wine, Monte Foscarino is the source of the grapes and, as I mentioned, their first vineyards as well. But it's important for a couple of other reasons too. The Monte Foscarino is in fact one of the only places in Italy with pure black volcanic basalt soils. Now the vineyards for this particular wine are located between 100 and 250 meters above sea level, and the vines themselves are between 30 and 50 years of age. It says on the bottle vecchie vigne, which means old vines, and that's how old they are. Now there's another reason why the Monte Foscarino has become important just recently. Soave has instituted a new system called Geographical Unit System, where all the most prestigious or best spots for the wines in the appellation have been given a special designation. In this case, Foscarino. This will be, going forward, the name of the geographical unit. Now, let's have a little look at this wine. This particular wine is made with the grape that made Soave famous, 100% Garganega. It has been fermented and aged for 6 months in used barriques, and then a further 6 months in steel tank where it was allowed to settle and fine, that is, to lose the sediment, for example. The color is a beautiful, deep lemon, as you can see. Now, the nose is expressive without being overly aromatic. There's lots of grass and hay. There's also a lot of white flowers, mostly chamomile, but also a little bit of honeysuckle. On the nose, there's honeydew and also a little bit of ripe pineapple. There's a lot of salt spray, I would say, in the back of the finale. And after some time in glass, and I've had it in this glass, and it is a larger glass, as you can see, it even develops a sense of rose petals, which is something that it does with time. Now this is a 2017 with 12%, actually 12.5% alcohol, by the way. The palate is smooth and creamy, and yet fresh, with really lovely lemon zest character, kumquat, some ripe melon, more white flowers, and a really delicate bitter almond finish that is not atypical for Garganega, especially from such volcanic soils. It's refreshing without being zippy, and there's layers of complexity that need both time and air to develop, and that is something that I feel is really important to mention. It's already a 2017, so it's not the most recent vintage, and it needs time to open after the bottle has been opened. So I actually opened this bottle yesterday and drank a good-sized glass. It was almost mute when I first opened it. So I put it back, and I put the bottle back and let it sit overnight. Tried it again today, and now the wine is really starting to express itself with really fine layers of complexity. This is the kind of wine that you need to give time, and generally a larger glass, and you can also drink it a little bit warmer than you might otherwise with a simpler wine. I would put this one at between 11 and 14 degrees. It's a personal preference, but it's something I would encourage you to do. Drink it just a little bit warmer than you might otherwise. And I have to say, it's also a very subtly complex wine. It's not a slap in the face, as you were. Highly worth seeking out. I encourage you to track it down. Thank you very much. I hope it was interesting, and I hope to see you again next time.